In economics, Jean Baptiste Say, J.B. Say, name is very popular. He is considered as French economist and founder of Sage Law of Market. Jean, Jean, Jean Baptiste, 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 Say. J.B. Say, popularly known, he was born in 1767 on January 5 and he died in 1832 on 15th November. J.B. Say major work is treatise on political economy, which was published in 1803. J.B. Say was very popular liberal French economist, and he was also a businessman who argued in favor of competition and free trade. J.B. Say was working in a insurance company, insurance office. He was working in an insurance office where he read a copy of Adam Smith's book, Wealth of Nations. And he was greatly influenced by the writings of Adam Smith in Wealth of Nations. And he also started supporting that economics is a science of wealth. Perhaps his book, Treatise on Political Economy, published in 1803, was the first popular book on economics published on the European continent. His book, Treatise on Political Economy, published in 1803, was the first book on economics published on the European continent. J.B. Say was more than a popularizer of other men's idea. It was said that J.B. Say is popularizing the idea of Adam Smith, but he had certain differences from Adam Smith also. What he liked most of the things which were written in Wealth of Nations as great facts for economics. Therefore, in his own time, J.B. Say was probably best known as the man who systematized the concept formulated by Adam Smith. If you will find the contribution of J.B. Say, his contribution is more systematic than any other economist during classical period. His concept in economics, which were the concept of Adam Smith, but he has developed and systematically produced the concepts. It is said that for the first time it was found the terminology he developed, the approach he employed in dividing economic activity into the production, distribution, and consumption of wealth have come classic. Indeed, definition of economics found in virtually all dictionary today is basically a description of this division first evolved by Say. So this is most important fact, that economic activities were systematically divided into production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. This classification of economics was done first of all by J.B. Say, and he wanted to popularize the ideas of Adam Smith at a more effective way all parts of European continent so that every should know that economics is the science of wealth written by Adam Smith is not only for England but all parts of the world. His success at this task was evidenced by the influence he had among other scholars of his time. He became the founder of his own school of thought. His own school of thought was liberal optimistic school. Therefore, it is said that J.B. Say is a liberal French economist, and his school is known as liberal optimistic school, which dominated economic thinking in France for most of the 19th century. J.B. Say is most famous for his law of markets. According to J.B. Say, supply creates its own demand, and therefore whatever is produced that will be demanded in the market, and market will be clear. Therefore, equilibrium will automatically established. There is no need of any control by the government. There is no need of any regulation. He wanted free competition, free trade in the business. He was not only economist, but he was businessman who argued in favor of competition and free trade. Sage regarded economics as a natural science and assumed that wealth is created, distributed, and consumed in accordance with the laws of nature and without the necessity of any government interference. It was just like the ideas of Adam Smith, who also said that there is a natural tendency, naturalism and optimism, natural tendency to be produced. So J.B. Say regarded economics as a natural science and assumed that wealth is created, distributed, and consumed in accordance with the laws of nature and without the necessity for any government interference. In his laws of market, he had accepted principle of Laissez, Faire, which means there is no need of any state intervention in economic activity. Economic activities will go on in the economy through the competition among the buyers and sellers. And that he was seeking natural equilibrium force in the economics along the line of those which are encountered in physics. He compared natural science of physics with the natural science of economics, and he said that economics is a natural science in which there will be natural equilibrium forces in economics along with the line those that are encountered in physics. He thought that economics as a positive science, yielding no ethical evaluations or empirical directions to legislators, and went far beyond Adam Smith in his aversion of government control, claiming that it was objectionable even when it was indispensable. J.B. Say was more intense about the government interference should not be there in the economy if we want to achieve equilibrium, that is natural equilibrium. Natural equilibrium in the economy will be obtained only when there is no control, no regulation, no interference by the state. So there should be laissez-faire in the economy, and if this is obtained, then there will be no unemployment. It was his assertion that due to Sage law of market, supply creates its own demand. Whatever is supplied, it will be demanded in the economy, and hence there will be no overproduction in the economy. He ruled out the existence of overproduction in a capitalistic economy. Sage law of markets asserting the impossibility of the general overproduction. He declared that overproduction is impossible. Laws of market, Sage laws of market asserting the impossibility of general overproduction dominated 19th century economic thought, although he expressed the law under simple assumption of barter economy. Engaged in free competition, Sage law was usually interpreted literally as a description of actual operation of the economy. Consequently, business cycles came into to be regarded as short-term deviation from the long-term tendency towards general stability. He distinguished between short-term fluctuations and long-term stability. He said that there may be some short-term fluctuations in the variables, economic variables, but it will be corrected and there will be long-term tendency towards general stability. Because in his natural economics is a natural science where there is tendency towards reaching to the equilibrium in the economy. It is important to understand that Say did not regard temporary overproduction of a particular commodity as impossible. He said that temporary overproduction may occur, but that will be automatically solved. It was the notion of general overproduction that he denied. He said that temporary overproduction, partial overproduction, in sectoral overproduction may be possible, but there can't be general overproduction in the whole economy. And so he ruled out such type of depression which came in 1929-32 in USA. And his theory was proved to be wrong. In 1929-32, when Great Depression appeared and there was overproduction. So that was the end of the Sage law of market. It is important to understand that Sage did not regard temporary overproduction of particular commodity as impossible. It was the notion of general overproduction that he denied. In his word, J.B. Say word is very popular. In the words of J.B. Say, the glut of a particular commodity arises from its having overrun the total demand for it. Overproduction is denoted by glut in the market. So that may arise in the short run. Such temporary glut can be corrected if government interference ceases. If government interference is not there, this temporary glut will be automatically solved by movement of one resources, one factor from one place to other. No sooner is the cause of the political disease removed than the means of production feel a natural impulse towards the vacant channel, the replenishment of which restores activity to all others. It then becomes clear that the total supply of product and total demand for them must necessarily be equal, for the total demand is nothing but the whole means of commodity which have been produced. The general congestion would consequently be absurdity. Sage law of market was said that there would not be general congestion, that is general depression, he ruled out. And this laws of market ruled from 1803 to 1929. In 1929, there was a great depression in the USA and glut overproduction everywhere, and this led to 160 lakh people retrenched from the job, unemployment rate rising to 25% in the USA. There was 160 lakh people unemployed during depression. During depression in England, 30 lakh people were unemployed. In Germany, 60 lakh people were unemployed. And so there is a crash of J.B. Say's laws of market. It was rejected by J.M. Keynes. John Maynard Keynes appeared at that time, and John Maynard Keynes had given a signal that there will be disguised unemployment due to the glut in the market, and that glut is due to the uh, decrease in effective demand. So Jebise theory was rejected by James Keynes, and James Keynes established rejected supply creates its own demand was rejected by Keynes. Demand established Keynesian law. What is Keynesian law? Keynesian law. Demand creates its own supply. Demand creates its own supply. What was the JBC law? Supply creates its own demand. Supply creates its own demand is JBC laws of market. It was rejected in 1929-32 Great Depression and all parts of depression in Europe and USA. Then in 1929, it was found that everywhere there is a great depression, overproduction, and there is no any chances of restoration. Then James Keynes was invited by President Roosevelt of USA from England, and John Maynard Keynes came to USA and calculated multiplier of USA equal to 4, and then he decided that in order to correct the economy, state interference is necessary. He rejected the idea of laissez-faire, and he declared that laissez-faire will not be applicable anywhere in capitalist economy in coming years. What is required? A state interference. What is required? Fiscal policy. What is required? A state will spend huge amount of money in the economy to boost up the demand, aggregate demand, effective demand, and this will lead to the decrease in unemployment, and re-employment will start until there will be attainment of equilibrium in the economy. All unemployed people will get job. But in the short run, he said that in the short run, government interference is necessary, and we are, James Keynes and Keynesian economists rejected JB's approach of Sage law of market, and said that this Sage law of market is now tested and found that it is not correct. There is a state interference necessary to restore the equilibrium in the economy. And for the restoration of equilibrium, it is essential that government must interfere. So JBC was criticized by J.M. Keynes. JBC was first economist in Europe who had written a book in the French economy and known as Treatise on Political Economy. That was the first popular book on economics published on the European continent. It was at that period. Before him, Adam Smith's book Wealth of Nation appeared in 1776, and in 1803, JBC has written his book Treatise on Political Economy. His theory continued from 1803 to 1929 when the Great Depression appeared, and his theory was criticized, and John Maynard Keynes has come, and John Maynard rejected Sage law. Sage law was supply creates its own demand. Rejected. No supply first. Demand creates its own supply. Demand creates its own supply. According to Keynes, increased demand, this will lead to increase in supply. And therefore, Sage law of market is replaced by Keynesian law of market. Keynesian law of market, what is Keynesian law? Keynesian law, other things remain the same. In the economy, capitalist economy, in the short run, there is a deficiency in effective demand, which is cause of unemployment and overproduction. Overproduction is caused by deficiency in effective demand. Therefore, the solution lies that increase the effective demand by a state expenditure, by government expenditure, like pumping money in the economy, deficit financing, deficit budgeting, more expenditure by government, and that will lead to increase in effective demand. And if effective demand increases, employment will increase, economy will restore. So he rejected the idea of JB say that there will be natural science, economics is a natural science, and there will be automatic attainment of natural equilibrium by the forces in the economy, provided government is not interfering. He rejected, no, government will interfere, only then this deviation from the equilibrium will be restored. That's all. Thank you for listening.